Hey guys, Freelancing here, and today we'll be going over a Photoshop tutorial of creating a matrix. If you've seen the movie Matrix, you might have seen that signature intro in which those green letters fall from nowhere into nowhere. It's like that techie thing that looks somewhat like this. And what we're basically doing today is that we'll be pursuing this effect in Photoshop, and the best part is we would not be using any external plugins, and you can achieve this effect until you have Photoshop, a mouse, a trackpad, or a keyboard. All right. So to begin with, first of all, what you want to do is create a new file. Go to File, New. The width I will be keeping will be 1920, and the height will be 1080. You click OK. You can save this I would save this document or not. Well, let's just let that remain open, right? So once you have created this new file here, what you want to do is press D on your keyboard, and to make the background and foreground colors the default colors, which are black and white, and press Alt backspace or Option backspace if you're on a Mac to fill that area in with your foreground color, which in this case is black. Now you might be seeing in this file that I have as a demo, and these letters, well, these letters are symbols which you most of the times don't have on your keyboard, such as this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, this one, and many of these. So it's not necessary that you have them on your keyboard, nor do we need them on our keyboard. We will be using a little trick that we can do in Windows. So to do that, what you want to do is open up your notepad, go to Start and search Notepad, or you can simply open Notepad. Open Notepad, and what you want to do is that take any image in your computer, any image, literally. It could be an avatar, it could be a background, it could be 10 cross 10 pixel image, it could be a 5K image, 4K image, any image. So I'll take one of my backgrounds here. For example, let's see, this image. The image that you choose really does not matter. So you could choose any image that you want. For example, I can choose this one, this one, this one, this one, this one. So I'll be choosing this one, and drag it into your notepad onto your text editor right here. And after a moment, you would see such a kind of effect, which is really geeky. So what you could do is take one part of it, click anywhere, and go down like 50 scrolls, and hold shift and click anywhere else. So you would have a really huge selection, and to cut that out, press Ctrl X or Ctrl C, anything you like, and you will just close that notepad now. And you don't need to save any changes, or you don't need to save this note. So I'll click on don't save and go to Photoshop, and what I want to do now is that zoom out of the canvas area a bit. If you don't know how I am doing this with my scroll wheel, you could simply press Ctrl K on your keyboard and select the zoom with scroll wheel and press OK. So now you would have the ability to scroll with the zoom wheel, zoom with the scroll wheel. Alright, so now we will be using a attribute of the text tool that seldom people use. So to do that, we will be using vertical text tool, vertical type tool, vertical text tool, whatever you want to call it. So what you want to do is click and hold on your text tool and select the vertical type tool, right? And click there and create a huge area in which you would be creating your text, right? So what you want to do is simply press Ctrl V in there, and let's just remove that, and first of all make the color white so that we can at least see what we're typing in, and press Ctrl V, right? And now what I want to do is that press somewhere again and press Ctrl V, take a blank area if you have any, and press Control V, Control V, Control V, and Control V. Again, Control V. The font that you use doesn't really matter. For example, in the last one, I used the font that I used was Cjo UI. In this one, I will be using Helvetica New, and maybe let's see. The font that I'll be using is Helvetica New, and I will be having that at ultra light. It really doesn't matter on what you have it. Just make sure that it isn't too bold font. You don't want the font to be very bold. You want it to be light, and you could just simply click on your move tool once you're happy with the result that you have here. Alright, so just move this up a little bit so that until it is reaching from the top to the bottom, it starts to shatter out, or it starts to be spaced, begins to be spaced sparsely. Alright, so here we have that. Now what you want to do is right click on your text layer and go to blending options, and in the blending options you want to add a color overlay. You could have any color, but to achieve the real matrix effect, I would be having it at green. So click on this box and choose a nice green color, such as this one. Let's see, maybe this one. Alright, so the color that I'm using is 63FF67, and click OK. Click OK again, and well, you're basically good to go. And also you have to keep in mind that the font, with the font, you have to have the size at a reasonable size. For example, in this example, I use 24 points as the size, and also it actually depends. The size that you want actually depends upon the size of your document, right? So here we have our text on which we have applied a blending option. You want to right click on the text and convert rasterize the layer style, right? This option, rasterizing the layer style, is available in Photoshop CS6 and CC. If you don't have those, what you could do is that simply convert that into a smart object and then rasterize the layer. So once you've done that, press Ctrl J on your keyboard and press Control J so that you can make a duplicate of this layer, and with your move tool selected, move this layer somewhere here and press Control T on your keyboard and flip horizontal. Right, so here it is. You can move this with your arrow keys while holding shift to move them by 10 pixels. For example, I'm holding shift, and with the arrow keys you can move this wherever you want. Alright, and again press Control J to duplicate this layer and press Control T, and you could simply, what you could do is like move this here and see where the text is, and press Control flip horizontal and press enter key, press your enter key. Alright, so once you've done that, once you have your 3 layers here, you want to create a new layer above all of these and name that fade. You don't really need to name that fade, it's just to keep this stuff organized. So take up your brush tool and have a soft round brush here with a hardness of 0%. Scale that up using your bracket keys. I'm using my right bracket key to scale that up and the left bracket key to scale that down. So on the bottom half, while holding shift, just draw this so that we get a real nice fade here, and as the fade is a bit too intense, you want to lower down the opacity to around 50%, 51%. Alright, so the basic structure of our background is ready. Now what we want to do is take up the last layer, the first one actually, the one that we originally wrote, and go to filter, blur, and add a motion blur here. The angle would be at 90 degrees, the distance could be 5, let's see. For this example, I'm having the distance at 13 pixels, and click OK. and just you could just hide those two layers with the ones above them. And on the last layer you could simply lower down the opacity a little bit, and again go to filter, blur, and add a Gaussian blur. The Gaussian blur that you want to add should be a really subtle blur, for example a 0.3 pixel blur. What this would do is add some effect of depth of field and give us really some three-dimensional looking image. So go to your second layer now, and what you want to do is that add a motion blur again, filter, blur, and motion blur, and this time decrease the amount by which you add the blur. Alright, so let's have it at 4 this time, and decrease the opacity, but not that much. The value that you put earlier, for example it was 80, this time it's at 84 or 85, like, let's say 90%. And then take up your foremost color, and you could just press Ctrl J on your keyboard and merge these two layers by pressing Ctrl E. And now what you want to do is go to filter, blur, Gaussian blur, and the blur that you want to do on this is a really subtle blur of 0.2 pixels. And after that, double click on your layer and go to outer glow and put that on colored edge like this, and press OK. So once you have that, let's see what else we want to do here. And alright, so press Ctrl J on this, and the one that on which we applied the outer glow originally, right click on that and click on rasterize layer style, and put that on a really low. I'm sorry, you don't want to rasterize that layer style. And what you want to do is that delete the layer style and put that into trash. You drag that into trash, and what you want to do is go to filter, blur, Gaussian filter, blur, and motion blur, and add a kind of high blur, for example 79 pixels or 80 pixels, or whatever you want, and decrease the opacity to around 90%. Alright, and now what I want to do is take the foremost layer and check that it has the opacity 100%, so that it is the most vivid of all of these. And well, you could maybe lower down the opacity of the last one on which we apply the motion blur to around let's see, to around 75%, and add a Gaussian blur on that layer. I go to blur and add a Gaussian blur, and you want to have that blur a really subtle blur, so that it does not kind of overpower that and we don't lose the effect. So create a new layer and place that below the fade and name that highlights, like so. Right, and take your brush tool and size that down to around a, let's see, a 125 pixels, and make your foreground color black by pressing D on your keyboard, then pressing X on your keyboard, and make straight lines by clicking and holding shift and dragging down on your keyboard, and using your mouse tool to do that. The lines should not be of equal sizes, they could be of different sizes. It really doesn't matter. Like so, you could continue doing this, then decrease the brush size and make it around 80 pixels, like so. Let's see, somewhere here, a little bit here. So I'll just complete that and get back. Alright, so here we are, and now what I want to do is that put this on overlay and put the opacity down to 89% or 90%. So let's see, our image is basically ready, and in the last image you see it was a bit too perfect. It kind of didn't really stand out. What I did in this one was I added a motion blur in this one to make it look a bit better than the last one, the original one which I showed you guys. So well, basically here it is, and the new one I guess looks a lot better than the last one. The one I taught you is much better than what I actually made. So here we are done with the tutorial, and I hope you liked this tutorial. Please like this video if you learned something new. Subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. I upload tutorials regularly. I upload Maximum Cinema 4D, Sony Vegas, Photoshop, and more tips and tricks about Photoshop. And I have a huge library of tutorials. If you want to get some freebies, downloads, and giveaways, head over to my website, which is www.straightdesigns.portfoliobox.me. Into the download section, you could find loads of downloads for you to use in Photoshop projects as PSDs or standalone projects. So be sure to head there onto my website and subscribe to my channel for more tutorials. Like this video, and we'll see you next time.